All right, so today we're going to be looking at some word problems. Okay, I apologize about the printer. Obviously, I don't know if it's running out of ink or it's just old, which it is. We're getting new ones soon, so we shouldn't have any issues like this going forward. Okay, but above here is just kind of all the formulas we've talked about. Like I said, from today in class, that nothing new here. Now it's just giving, the information has been given to us differently, and now it's asking us to find. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do. All right, so let's go ahead here and let's look at number 1. So it says the Alpharetta Community Garden Network wants to plant vegetables in a triangular plot of land in Wills Park. 2 of the angles of the triangle measure 95 and 40 degrees. The side between the 2 angles, okay, the side between the 2 angles is 80 feet long. Okay, so what I like to do is, okay, what I like to do first is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my triangle here, okay, and for purposes for all of us guys, let's just get used to labeling our triangles exactly like this. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a triangle. I'm going to label it big A, big C, big B. So that means then opposite is your little side, so little a, little c, little b. Okay? And it doesn't matter how I do this, okay? I'm just going to interpret it like this, right? Okay? I'm just going to say that big A is 40 degrees and big C is 95 degrees. I can choose, right? I don't have to say, okay, if I wanted to make big B 40 degrees and big A 95 degrees, like that's totally fine. Okay? And then it says that the side between the 2 angles, so between angle A and angle C here, has to be 80. Okay? It says that it's 80 feet. So then let's see what it says. It says find the measure of the 3rd angle. Okay, so to find angle B, we're just going to do this. So angle B equals 180 degrees, because that's what a triangle adds up to, minus the 2 angles given. So minus 40 minus 95 degrees. And when you do that, you get angle B is equal to 45 degrees. So let's go ahead here and let's label 45 degrees in. Okay? And so then it says find the lengths of the 2 other sides. Okay, so based on what we have here, guys, we have what? We have angle, side, angle. So 2 angles in a side means law of sines. Okay, so I'm doing law of sines here. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll find, let's just go ahead and we'll find little a first. So for little a, it's going to be this. Remember, you've got to have the, first off, you got to have one of the ratios, right? So by finding big B, we now can do this. We can do sine of 45 degrees over little b, which is 80, equals sine of big A, which I know, 40 degrees, over little a. And so then we're going to go ahead and we're going to cross multiply now that we have that. And so when we do that, we're now going to have A sine 45 degrees equals 80 sine 40 degrees. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to divide both sides by sine 45. Isolate the A. So recall, okay, in our calculator here, okay, we're just going to go ahead, we're going to hit close from all the stuff we did today, fraction button, 80 sine 40, close parentheses, over sine 45, close parentheses there, and again, my calculator is in degrees, just hit enter. Let's go ahead, let's round to the tenths, and so we're going to say then little a equals 72.7 And what are our units, right? What are our units? Make sure we have our units, so it says feet. Okay? And so now the only other place we need to find is C. Now I would love to just do Pythagorean theorem, but we know we don't have a right triangle here. So we're going to have to use law of sines again. So over here for little c, let's set it up. Same kind of process as setting up little a. I'm going to use big B and little b again. So I'm going to get sine of big B, which is 45, over little b, which is 80, equals sine of big C, which we were given already. We found to be 95. It's 95 degrees. We didn't find it. It was given to us. Sorry. All right. Sorry, that looks like it backwards too. It's supposed to be an S. Okay, all over little c. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cross multiply. And that's going to give me this. It's going to be c sine 45 degrees equals 80 sine 95 degrees. And so I'm going to go ahead here now and I'm going to divide sine of 45, sine of 45. And so let's go ahead and plug that into our calculator and we'll figure out what c is equal to. Okay, so same thing again, clear it here, fraction button, 80 sine 95 over, in the denominator here now, sine 45, hit enter, boom, there we go, we get 112.7, so that means then side C is 112.7 feet. So there I just found little a and little c, okay? And so now what we're going to do is says, what's the perimeter? Well, the perimeter is just the total distance out around the triangle, right? So perimeter is just going to be equal to little a plus little b plus little c. And so that's going to give me what? That means I'm going to get 72.7 plus little b, which is 80, plus little c, which is 112.7. And so when we add those all together, that means then that the perimeter, which I'll just label as P this to go around, is equal to 265.4 feet. Okay? So there's number one. Okay? All right. Number two here. It says this. It says a tree goes towards the sun at a 2-degree angle from the vertical and casts a 25-foot shadow. Okay, so the angle from the tip of the shadow to the top of the tree is 47 degrees. So when I see this right away, this reminds me of a right triangle problem in Unit 1. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's draw our triangle. All right? So first off, we know our horizontal distance here is 25 feet, I believe. What is it? Is it foot? Yep, 25 feet. Because this is our shadow. We know from wherever the top of the tree, from the shadow to the top of the tree here, is giving me an angle of 47 degrees. Now, normally we would say that vertical distance would help us form a right angle here. But what unit are we on? We're on a unit of solving non-right triangles. So to adapt it for a type of question we have, okay, to adapt it for a type of triangle that we are learning, right now, instead of going up straight by vertical, I said that it's leaning a little bit leaning by 2 degrees instead of going vertically up. So if normally this right here was 90, and then this right here is another 2 degrees, well, that means then that this whole angle right here, is equal to 92 degrees. Okay? And for labeling purposes, we're going to do the exact same thing. A, C, B. Little a, little b, little c. So it wants to know the height of the tree. So we have to find little b. We have to find little b. Okay? So to find little b, I'm missing some information though, right? Like I know big A, I don't know little a. I know big B, I don't know little b. I don't know little c, okay? But I don't know big C, but I do know little c. So let's go ahead here, because we've got 2 out of the 3 angles, let's go ahead and let's find big C. Because once we find big C, then we can go ahead and I think use law of sines to solve for little b, which is going to be the height of the tree. Okay? So, big C is going to be 180 minus our 2 angles, which we got angle A to be 92, minus angle B, which is 47. And so when you do that, you get that angle C equals 41. Okay? And now that we have that, we can go ahead and we can find the height of the tree, which is little b. Okay? And so I'm going to do that setting it up like this. My big angle over my small side, which I know, which in this case is going to be sine of big C, which is 47 degrees. I'm sorry, not 47 degrees, 41. See guys how easily you can mess this up here. You've got to really pay attention. So sine of 41 over little c, which was given to us, which was the 25-foot shadow, equals, okay, sine of big B, which is sine of 47 degrees over little b. And now we're going to do the exact same thing we did last problem. Okay, we're going to go ahead, we're going to cross multiply. And so when I cross multiply, I'm going to have this. I'm going to have little b times sine of 41 degrees equals 25 sine 47 degrees. Okay, we're trying to isolate that little b. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by sine of 41. And so when I do that, I'm going to get now little b equals, let's get our calculator ready here. Clear out, fraction button, 25, sine button once, 47, all over sine 41. Enter, and there we go. So we get 27.86. Let's round to the tenths again. So we're going to say then the tree is actually 27.9, and we're going to use our feet. Tall. Okay? So 27.9 feet tall would be the tree size. So guys, really I think what I'm seeing so far through these 2 problems is that if you can draw the picture correctly and label everything, you guys have shown that you understand how to do law of sines really well. Okay, that's going to be the toughest part of today's lesson, is understanding that. Okay? Alright, on to number 3, which is not written really nice. Okay? But pretty much what number 3 is it's given me 3 sides of a triangle, right? So for number 3, let's just write it down. So it's telling me A is equal to, or I just labeled it A because we're keeping our small sides the same as we drew the original triangle. So I'm just going to say A is 14.9 centimeters. B is equal to 23.8. centimeters. Okay, and C is equal to 36.9 centimeters. Okay, and so it says find the angle with the least measured. Okay, so I'm trying to find the angle with the least measured side. Okay, and so that means then, how do we know what is going to be the smallest angle? Okay, all right, that is going to be the smallest side. So I'm looking at A, which means then that I am finding angle A. Okay. Now, because I'm just finding one angle, guys, okay, and not finding all three, I do not have to start off by solving for the biggest angle first. Okay. Okay. If I asked for all three of the angles, then yes, we would, because it's side, side, side. Okay. I would have to solve for the biggest angle. But I'm just solving for one, the smallest in this case. So we're going to solve for angle A, and that's it. Because this is side, 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 guys, we are using law of cosines, okay? And we're going to use our angle formula. So it's going to look like this. We're going to have big A equals cosine inverse of B squared plus C squared minus A squared all over 2BC. So let's go ahead and let's plug that in. So we're going to get now cosine inverse, okay, of B squared. So B squared in this case, 23.8 to the second power, plus C squared, which is 36.9 to the second power, minus A squared, which is 14.9 to the second power, all over 2 times B, which is 23.8, times C, which is 36.9. So let's go ahead there and let's type that into our calculator here. Okay, so clear, cosine inverse, fraction button, 23.8 squared plus 36.9 squared minus 14.9 squared all over 2 in parentheses 23.8 close parentheses open parentheses 36.9 close parentheses, and then close the whole fraction. Hit enter, and when you do, you find it to be 13 point. You find angle A, sorry, or in this case that ends up just being 13.8 degrees. And so the smallest angle, which in this case angle A, should equal 13.8 degrees. Okay, and so that right there would be finding angle A, okay, and using all sides, okay? All right, last question, okay? The roof on a house is one side that is the shape of an isosceles triangle. The sides of this part of the roof are 18 feet long and the angle at the peak is 50 degrees. Okay, so first things first, okay? When you draw your triangle, let's draw our triangle like we did in, okay, draw a triangle like we did in number 1. So we said big A, big C, big B, little a, little b, little c. Okay, now, okay, imagine this looks like a roof too. If I was to draw a one-dimensional, or wait, not one-dimensional, I guess two-dimensional is flat like this. I don't know. I forget. I apologize. House, I would just draw a triangle as the roof, you know, like the old houses back in the day. Okay? What you need to recall, though, too, is that it's telling we have an isosceles triangle. So what an isosceles triangle is that the two sides, the two legs here, not the base, are congruent. So based on the triangle I can draw, that means I can label B to be 18 and A to be 18. So little b and little a are 18. Okay? And then it says this. It says the sides part of the roof are 18 feet long, and the angle at the peak is 50 degrees. 50 degrees. Okay? So that's the peak there. So what I have here then now is I have side, angle, side. Okay? Side, angle, side. All right? And it says find the area of this roof. So that's like saying the same thing as I've given little a, little b, and big C, which is 50 degrees. And so this looks exactly like what we did today in class, where you were given two sides and an angle and you have to find the area. So we're going to say area then equals 1/2 times little a times little b times sine of big C. So that means then your area is going to equal 1/2 times 18 times 18, because a and b are both 18, times sine of 50 degrees. Let's see, okay, you can see from there. So let's go ahead, let's plug that into our calculator. So we're going to go fraction button, 1/2, parentheses, 18, parentheses, 18, sine of 50, close parentheses, hit enter. And so there we go. So we're going to say the area, okay, the area for this roof is equal to 124.1. And let's say again, what is that? It is feet. Yep, so we're going to say feet squared. All right. So again, it's all about drawing the picture. You got to practice these, draw the pictures. Okay, you got to practice drawing these pictures. Once you get them down, you know, once you have the understanding of the terminology that's asking you, I think you guys are going to do a great job of solving for that. Okay? All right, so we went over those 4 problems, word problems. That is it for Unit 3. Okay, like I said, that was nothing new. I did not teach you any new formulas, none of that. Tomorrow in class, we will go over this together. Thursday will be the test review, and then Friday will be the actual test. Okay? All right. With that, that is it for today. I will talk to you guys tomorrow in class. Talk to you later. Peace.